Record to cloud. Okay, so we are recording. Welcome everybody to the SuperEZ Trade Room. We're going to go over tonight strategies, the different ones that we use within the group, how to use them, and how to perfect them. So now that I've said that, I'm going to answer your question, Helen. In terms of the 6-7-figure challenge, I was just messaging Pat actually prior to this call, and I would like to maybe stick with the title 6-figure challenge, only because, guys, when you guys hit 6 figures, I'm really hoping you withdraw. And until like you're debt free, or maybe you bought your house or like whatever, then let's keep growing. So like the first few times we get to 6, or just to 100,000, or it'll actually need to be over 100,000 because again, there's fees to withdraw. Obviously, you're going to leave some in there, et cetera, so forth. But either way, I really like you to withdraw at 6 figures. The reason being, obviously, many people have put in hundreds and thousands of dollars and never once withdrawn. So having said that, like if I want to be the light and I want to be the best version of myself, and I've prayed about this quite a bit, is I really want you guys to withdraw when you hit to 6 figures. Again, with the caveat that says, hey, no problem. If you have $30,000 in debt, let's go ahead and withdraw at 30. Or hey, if you need exactly $70,000 to pay off your mother's surgery she desperately needs, then you withdraw at 70, or whatever your particular circumstances are. Wow, I'm getting all kinds of stuttery. But what I'd like to see happen is when you guys get to 6 figures, which essentially could be done in a few weeks with the markets right, it's going to really pick up after next weekend. After Labor Day, we're going to see some massive spikes and some massive trending markets. So as you can see, this is already, everything is increasing and it's going to increase. So I'm hoping that we have it ready to go, if not by next week, for sure by the following week. So that would be the beginning of September, right? Today's the 20th. So week and a half, I'm praying that we're ready to go. To answer everyone's questions, because there are so many in my inbox. I don't have all the details yet. Pat, I'm not concerned with whether or not I can get a $100 account to 6 figures. I know I can. I've done it before. I continuously do it, and I've gotten pretty good at it. But there's a whole psychological shift that happens when you are teaching, coaching, and taking live trades. There's a lot of, and it's not your guys' fault, and it's not my fault, but there's a lot of messaging of, oh my gosh, should we hold this trade? And oh my gosh, I'm going to blow my account. And oh my gosh, I'm scared. And hey, were we supposed to enter now? Or I got on late. And there's all these like human concerns and emotions that really just put that energy into the vibes. I don't know what words to say to express this with you guys, but there's a lot that goes into it. So having said that, he wanted to make it as possible and stress-free as possible, and he knows, so he's had access to some of my evidence and proof in terms of my accounts and pips per week and gross percentages and all that good stuff. So definitely capable, but he wanted to make it a little bit less pressure because it's a lot of pressure to give signals. So he is going to be giving signals, and he does have Elvis coming on board as well. We do have different trading styles, but at first that sounds like a stressful and possibly negative thing. I've gotten a lot of messages about that as well. However, I do think that it's going to be an advantageous thing for everybody involved. And the reason being is because Pat and I do not trade Asian session. Like, we don't trade in that session. And there's a lot of people like Derek. Hey, Lloyd, you're not muted. Hold on, let me mute everyone. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So I do think it's going to be a positive thing, and here's why. Just like Derek, who's currently in the Philippines, our group is growing exponentially. And with that said, like, we need to accommodate the people who live not in the US. We need to accommodate the people who literally only have the Asian session to trade or who are up for London. And in general, Pat and I don't do either London or Asia. Those just aren't our markets. So, and not that we couldn't be successful with them, but in general, like, my trading styles, all of them work best around my time zones. I even moved across country to accommodate what the skill I gained. Not the only reason, it just happened to be a good reason. So, yeah, we are going to have a couple people giving signals. I don't have all the details in terms of how we're going to do it all. I have committed to Pat and to the group that I would go live a few times a week. I'll go live at least twice scheduled. And then if I, for instance, I'm looking at trades and I have some free time, I'm going to just pop a Zoom link into this private Telegram group and say, hey guys, jump on. Not necessarily in this kind of format where I'm just talking to myself up here, but more in the format where the lines are open, got some music playing, we're looking at charts, we are, we're discussing them together. Maybe Helen will share her screen and say, well, hey, this is what I'm seeing, and so will talk about this, and so will talk about that, and we'll kind of make a collective, decision. And I think I'm big on that a lot of minds can possibly be better than one, especially with some skilled traders. So I have committed to going live twice a week, and I'll probably pop on a few other times, just with that kind of family atmosphere where we're all talking, hanging out, got some music on, sharing life stuff, talking about the Philippines and all that good stuff. So it is going to be in a separate Telegram group. Helen, I will unmute. Also, just give me a second here. I'm trying to answer all the questions I've got in the chat. I will unmute you in just a moment here. But that should be about it. So as for the remaining details, Pat's going to announce that like in a big family barbecue setting. We have decided, I did message him prior to this call, like I was saying, that I do want it titled the six figure, because if I'm going to do it my way, and I really want to stick true to me and to what I gave my word to, because I know that I can do this with you guys. And some of those changes kind of hit me off guard a little, and we're going to work with them, and we're going to make it good to the best of our ability. And I am good at that, so I have no doubt that that's possible. And I do think those changes will be good for everybody, with a couple more traders involved, a couple more eyes. And then for the people who maybe can't be on those calls in early New York, what's going to happen is we're going to have a Telegram channel. This is the one that you would not have muted. It will have signals. I do have a format that I'd really like to stick to. Again, those details have not been finalized. Those aren't up to me either, guys. But my hope would be it gives the title of the pair, the entry price, right? The stop loss and the take profit. What may happen is you have to choose your own stop loss, which I'm not a fan of that, only primarily for consistency. Then there's no question. If it's the given stop loss, there's no question of did this signal win or not. And trailing stop, again, you guys know that if it's my signal, then I would always teach you to move your stop and profit. Always, always, always. No matter what anybody tells you. If it happens, so let's say we took this trade right here, and then right here, we were in profit for a moment, and it turned around against us, well, then you closed with money in the bank. And then when it broke this low right here, cool, you took it again. But what if it had come back up here and turned around? We don't need to take unnecessary losses. And you guys know that's how I trade. If you're going to call yourself an investor, you need to consider risk management. You're already going to be wrong X percentage of the time. Your job is to consistently decrease that variable in your equation. If you are consistently decreasing the percentage of the times you're taking a loss, you are guaranteeingly increasing the percentages of the time you're taking a win, which means you're growing consistently, without doubt and without fail. That's not Jenny's opinion, that's just factual numbers. So each trade you take is going to be increased in a lot size. Rather than try to get you guys to each learn and use a calculator, we're going to stick pretty close to the worksheet that I created and sent out. It's kind of a version that many people have created. There's 1,000 of them going around. We're going to stick with the ones that I produced and put in the group. And that means it won't come out dollar for dollar. And the reason, as you guys know, is because not every pair is exactly worth $10 per pip. Only US dollar pairs are. So sometimes you're going to hit the goal based off of 50 pips, and sometimes you're going to surpass it. Other times you're going to be literally half as much because some pairs don't even trade. Hold on, let's go to this template. So this one's only worth $9.40, not including swap fees, spreads, commissions, and everything else. So if we keep shifting through here, this one's worth more. Odd Chef is. I know there's one pair that's worth like $6, but they're all changing right now, so I don't want to be wrong. Probably gonna be wrong, but that's okay. But as you guys can see, so this one's only worth $7.51. So that worksheet is programmed to be based off of $10 per pip, just so you guys know. And it's okay if we're not dead on. So some of these we're going to end up running, and if you happen to be in front of your charts and you can move your take profit up and move your stop loss up obviously as well, you can let that trade continue to run. again, provided you're able to manage it. If you're not comfortable and confident enough to manage your trade, you need to specifically do what's specifically said. And if you can't tell, so like for instance, we gave you a signal to buy here. If you can't tell, has this already moved 50 pips or not, then you should not be taking the signals. So you get a trade signal that says, hey, we're going to buy it at 1.4727. You'll see that number way over here on the side, right? And then you go to your chart and you see that it's like within a few pips of that. Remember, the pip is almost always the second to last digit from the number you see. There are some variables in terms of like cryptos, golds, and et cetera, so forth, but it's almost always the second to last digit. So, and that's the number you're counting from. If you see that it's only here, you know you have room. If you see it's pulled back, you know that you technically have a better entry than any of us have. If you see that it price is below the stop loss from what we called it, then that price would now be invalid. We're not going to take that trade. So I'm hoping that this turns into more of a growing experience than a signal experience. That's why I really want to do just the lives, preferably. And if you guys are jumping on the lives, you're going to see what we're doing, how we're doing it, and that's the concept we're going for. So I think that answers all the questions I can think of in terms of it. I am going to unmute. If you can raise your hand. I don't know. This isn't the free conference call. This one's a paid for service. It's Zoom. So if you have a question, raise your hand. If not, just wait for somebody else to speak up. I'm going to unmute all.
Jenny?
Oh, God.
This is Helen. My question is on the spreadsheet.
One moment.
It's a lot of music. I mean, a lot of noise.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute. Hold on. I think that's Veronica. Veronica, you got some massive background noise. So Helen, let me see if I can unmute you. If you raise your hand, I can find you better to unmute you. Or Veronica, can you please mute yourself? There she is. Unmute. Okay, Helen, go ahead.
Okay, my question is on the spreadsheet, let's say on the first line, you know, if you have $100 in there, you should make $10 that day or whatever it is. But are that on that signal, I'm sorry, not that day, that signal. What if you give 2 or 3 signals a day and we meet all 3 of those signals, they go to take profit? Do we, on Tuesday, do we go to line number 4 and use that lot size and everything? So that means that it won't be a total of 20 days because you went through 20 lines. It could possibly be 15 days because on 5 of those days you hit 2 of the take profit, 2 of the lines.
I'm gonna stop you right there. So I understand what you're thinking, and I do not recommend you do it, and I definitely don't do it myself. I don't go for daily pip goals. A lot of people say, have a daily pip goal. Yay, do that. And that works, like most things in life, until it doesn't. So these are not daily pip goals. That column, so that, the column that you see on that worksheet, that spreadsheet that I posted, that column is per trade only. So whether or not we found 3 trades that day, or whether we found 1 trade that day and we let it be a runner all week, that column is based off of that 1 individual trade. So that question is not relevant for what we're doing. So the next trade we find, you're going to use the next lot size, provided that first one is closed. Now, mind you, if you guys are all using AAFX, that broker has 2,000 to 1 leverage up until you hit 5,000. Most brokers actually lower their leverage once you hit 10,000. Some brokers continue to lower it as you hit 20,000 or as you hit 6 figures. So my decision to say, hey, I want you guys to withdraw after 6 figures, and most brokers do this, and none of you guys would even have a way of knowing this, but is once you hit 6 figures, they lower your leverage exponentially. So turning $100 into 6 figures is easier to do based off of leveraged money than 6 figures is into 7, believe it or not. So turning $50 into 5,000 is easier to do than it is to turn 5,000 into 7,000. And that's all margined money, like margin levels and leveraged levels, leveraged money. So it's really complicated to explain, and you're more than welcome to do your due diligence and find out for yourself. But just so you know, there's a reason for that. So you can't possibly, if we're doing this at 25%, which is the highest I'm willing to go publicly, I've had some groups do up to 48%. Those people tend to blow their accounts multiple times in a week. And not to say they can't make seven figures. I've watched them hit seven figures. I've physically been part of and watched them do it. But the thing is, they have no problem blowing a $100 account 5 or 6 times, and they'll do it again because they go hard and they go long. They look for multiple 10 pip trades. Boom, 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 boom. They're doing 48% risk per trade, 44% risk per trade. It's pretty much all or nothing. If you get a trade wrong, and even if you don't get it wrong and it just maybe goes against you for enough time, you're going to get a margin call and you blow your entire account. So we're not going to be in 3 or 5 trades at a time. I'm going to say you're going to be allowed to be in 2 trades at a time at the most in this account. Now, for your personal accounts, you can still trade however you're trading, and we're going to go over that in a moment. You can still take the trades you're going to trade and do what you need to do. You do you. But for this account, if you want to see the level of results that I'm seeing, if you want to make a life-changing amount of money, then your job is to have a separate account that you do not trade in. And if you follow these rules, I promise that we will hit 6 figures at least once by the end of this calendar year. It is definitely doable. It would take some massive things to make it impossible. And life happens. It could possibly happen. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very confident of that if you follow instructions. But if you're trying to take 3 to 4 trades at a time, you're 100% likely to blow your account because these are going to be high lot size trades. Very high. This is risky. This isn't like your everyday trading. This is for the people who want to grow in a different way. Your everyday trading should be like maybe 5 to 10%, maybe 15 at the most. But this is not meant for your everyday bill pay account. This is meant to be, I don't mind blowing a $100 account. I can do that. So I'm going to do it until I get it right. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so Keelan raised his hand. I'm going to answer your questions. Kumar, after we reach 6 figures and withdrawal, I will continue doing the services to do this with Pat, yes. I want to continue growing after 6 figures. I just really want you guys to withdraw. What you need to understand is that it's leveraged money, and every time you hit a new level, they lower your leverage. So they decrease your odds of continuing to grow, just so you know. So you're almost better, like for instance, for some of you who don't need the money or whatever your circumstances are, grow a few $100 account to 5 or 10,000 and then withdraw. Okay, so Pip, I don't know who that, Pipology, Pip something, KC says, rinse and repeat, keep the max leverage. So most of us who have the best success on most of my accounts, I rinse and repeat, I keep my max leverage. So I withdraw every week from AAFX, I keep my highest leverage because they're gonna give me the most bang for my buck. And the taking a $20 account and turning it into 1,000 is easy. And then I just take my money out. Taking a few $100 account, turning it into 5K, cool. And then I leave it. Jeremy Henry, they do not. Are you talking about AAFX? I mean, I could be wrong. It's definitely possible. None of us know all, not to mention these brokers change things up on everybody. But most brokers like Traders Way, I believe was 10,000, LMFX, their limit was 20,000. So once you hit 20,000, they took almost all of your leverage away. They turned it into a 100 to 1 account, which is really crappy, just excuse my French. So I may have a different thing than you do, and it's possible that you're right. But my understanding pretty concretely is it's 5,000, they start changing your leverage. And so I might be wrong, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so Keelan, let me see. Nick, let me click on you. Keelan, I'm gonna unmute you. Go ahead and ask your question, guy. How's it going?
Yes, thank you. I'm very new to this, and I know I must have missed out a lot. And you were speaking about something that I'm not sure about it, but it sounds good. And I actually followed a video that you had to join in AAFX. But is there any way that someone who now joined can pick up and what he missed out concerning this program.
How long have you been trading?
For about 6 months, trying on my own demo flow 2 counts, about that.
Okay, so if I told you right now, we're on a call, this is selling. We have our crossover of our EMAs, we're breaking below the 50, we just broke a fractal. My ADX sellers are on top, my momentum is going up past the 40. Canadian is way stronger than the euro, and now we're breaking below the 0. Granted, this is a 30-minute chart. It's not a chart I particularly trade from, but this is selling. It's good for 10 pips. Do you know how to do that all the way?
No.
Okay, then no. Like I want to be super loving and kind, but I also don't want anyone to unnecessarily lose money. So I'm going to zoom in on this real quick, if it'll let me. I'll do it this way so I don't touch my zoom bar. So you see that this is a bearish candle. Did you take any formal education in terms of learning how to trade?
Self-taught, just looking at videos, reading, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So if I told you, hey, I'm going to sell Euro CAD, it's bearish right now at 1.47710. We're going to sell it for 10 pips. Here, this is a demo account. So here, trading. See, new order, we're going to sell. This meets enough of my confirmations. So I'm going to take this trade. I'm going to go for at least 10 pips. I'm going to drag this and drop it all the way down here. That's 13 pips, but I'm going to put the trailing stop on here. This broker kind of has a pretty big spread for scalping, so I wouldn't typically scalp on this broker, but just for the sake of conversation, I'm going to do this. If I said we're going to put our stop loss above the previous high, which will be here, I'll take it. It's not a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, but you need to be able to at least do this much. Like you have to be able to understand trailing stop, okay? Take profit, stop loss, confirmations. Like you need to be able to follow that many rules.
I understand that very well.
Okay, then I'd say yes, you can join the challenge. But I really want you guys to be massively successful. I want this to be massively beneficial and a positive thing. So having said that, it's really important that you guys can at least do this much.
Yes, I understand that very well. So do I have to sign up with AFX and the other broker, was it? I remember.
I really recommend, so AFX is not my all-time favorite broker. They're my very good broker. My all-time favorite broker is Hugo's Way, and even they're making some changes currently. So the reason why I'd like you guys to have AFX is because they have a higher leverage. They have a very, very fast withdrawal. When you deposit or withdraw, it is instant. There is no waiting, there's no second guessing, it's easy. It's instant. And they have great leverage. That's the only reason why I'm willing to recommend them. So for this purpose, so for those people who are just now joining, to give you again a background, it is possible to grow a very tiny account into 6 or 7 figures in anywhere from like 24 to 50 trades. Some people can do it like in literally 24 trades. Based off of a very small amount of pips, it's quite impressive. But this is not regular trading. This is the kind of trading where you're willing to blow a $100 account a few times until you make it happen. Now, I'm not going to do that high of a risk. I'm going to do quite a bit more conservative because I'm going to go for more pips and I'm going to go for a less percentage in terms of our growth. But it's still very likely because of the amount of your lot size that you will blow accounts. It's very possible because again, this is not risk management. This is, we're going to be a 6 or 7 figure income earner in within a couple of months. So just so you guys understand the purpose of this is not what we're teaching you to do on the everyday. This is the exceptional. That's what we're trying to teach you. In case you didn't know that, for those who are new to the group and are just hopping on. Having said that, the only thing you need to bring to the table is you need to have access to your computer. You need to understand trailing stops, stop losses, and take profits. And you need to be good at following rules and coachable. And you need to be good at moving your stop loss into profit. Do you think you can do all that?
Yes, I can.
Fair enough, then you're good. Okay.
To go sign up to Hugo's Way or AAF?
Hugo's Way is my favorite, but you would need double the money to do the same thing with Hugo's Way.
Oh, so I could go.
You need double the money because they have half of the leverage. Actually, they have 25% of the leverage.
Did you have a recommended starting amount?
I'd like you guys to start with 200, and we're going to trade it as if it's 100. I'm more than okay if you guys start with 100 and trade it as if it's 50. And I can explain what I mean by that on my actual training in terms of that. So what that means, if you have $100 in there, we're going to trade it as if it's half as much. That's not going to be a lot toward the end, but it's enough to give you a little bit of a cushion as you're trading. So
Okay. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, next question. Avery?
Good evening, Jenny. How's it going?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. I have a question here. Do you still have that strategy for US 30? I remember you speaking about it a long time ago.
So I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's just the flip-flop, but we're doing it on the 5-minute, and I add the TDI. So it's literally just the flip-flop. I add the TDI, and it's on the 5-minute. And it works exponentially. But the only problem is when you lose big, and it's very difficult to compound because of how they calculate a pip. So it's fun to play with, and it's fun to get a lot of pips, but that's only in theory because the whole purpose of trading is compounding, and if you're not compounding, then you're just playing. So.
Well, I've been playing around with it for about 2 weeks now.
And you've done well.
Great advice on it. I've been very successful. I would say about 65% successful. It is true, when you lose, you lose.
Yep, when you lose, there's no fancy words you can put on that. It's like when you lose, you lose. There's no unlosing that.
When you win, it's like, nice, I just made, because literally I made like 50, 70 bucks in minutes if I am right, but if I am wrong, then,
your account is gone.
Yep.
Hey, what broker are you using?
I'm using AFX.
Okay, if you're going to trade US 30, I would totally say use CoinX. Because it's just, they trade it differently, and it's a learning curve in terms of, and on how to do it, but their spread on it is much smaller, and the way they calculate it is easier to learn.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because one of the things
I have a link for them if you don't have CoinX yet. So.
Please, yeah, I'll sign up for it.
Send me a message.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, I think that's about it. Thanks, Jenny.
You are welcome, and I'll show you exactly what I was doing for US 30. But just know that's like your play with account, and US 30 is probably one of the best things to trade during Asian session.
Really?
I know, right? It's crazy. It is crazy. It's one of the only things I'll trade like actively. Only if I'm bored, like I'm just sitting there kind of on the call or something. It's fun. So. Yes, sir.
I definitely need to try that. Yeah, let me send over the message and I'll get your link for CoinX. Yeah, the only thing that draws me back about AFX is that, like you said, the spreads are super high, especially when I'm doing like the odd 200. It's really ridiculous to get out of that draw.
Yeah, no, don't scalp with AFX. AFX is great for swing trading. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you for your question.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Okay, next question. I'm trying to pull up this thing from Jeremy here. So how do you join the challenge? I need the rules on which broker to use. Joe, you can message me. I'll send you the broker. The rules are coming. I'm drafting those now. Actually, I've got a little note on my desk. And more to-dos from Mr. Pat Murphy here in my thingy. What is this? Yay. Okay, I'm going to look at that after this call. He knows I'm on this call. So let's see. What if your max account size, can you guys see this right here? 1 to 2,000 leverage will stay up to 20K. Bigger account size, you should take the VIP. Okay, that's only, so basically, yeah, if they have it up to 250K, it's only for the VIP account. So everyone's account was set up a little bit differently, but what you need to know is depending on how your account was set up on and what country you live into, So like if you continue, I don't know what the next picture is, but just to be on the safer side, we want it to be at, we know that they do start changing leverage at 5,000. So I can't say what they would do. You're in the US, right, Jeremy? No bonus. You can't use bonuses, and that's another reason. Anybody who use bonuses, they will change your leverage also. Yes, Kirby. I like that idea of trading it as if it's a smaller account.
Yeah, I'm in the U.S. I just asked them just to so we can have, I guess, a visual from them themselves. Yeah, so you would need that 2,000 would get you into the VIP, and then that lets you utilize the or you keep the leverage at say 250K, and then once you go up above that, I think they drop it down to 1 to 1,000 or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so they just go in the next picture just gives you like the latter half of the conversation. It wasn't really long or anything like that. It was just I was asking them just so we had knowledge, if anyone wanted to do that.
Yeah, no problem. Here's the thing though. The problem is so like when I tell somebody what I do for Hugo's Way, I was still allowed to do certain things with Hugo's Way that nobody else was. So I was still allowed to withdraw for Hugo's Way via Zelle, even though no one else was able to. So I'm really careful in terms of how I answer a question with a broker, because the thing is, somebody else might have access to, what is that, Skrill on AFX, whereas I no longer do. Somebody else might have access to an account that was started at a certain time or under a certain promotion, and we want to be safe for the masses and not just safe for us. So I don't know what I don't know, and I won't claim to, but I will say that I know they start changing leverages in and around the 5,000 area, depending on what account you have, where you're located, whether or not you used a bonus, whether or not you used a referral link, or you have the referral link, isn't it? It's so like I have an IB, but if somebody used that whole sign up my friend thing, which is not an IB, it's different, then sorry, my youngest is blowing me kisses from outside these French doors. Back to what I was saying. But everyone's account is set up a little different, so I want to be safer rather than sorry. So the list CoinEx is the best for scalping. If you don't have them yet, message me and I'll give you a link. But with them, they don't even give you the referral. You have to actually message them and give them my email, or it doesn't even count anyways, because they're a pain in the butt. But Anthony, you have a question? Can you speak up or?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I didn't need to know if I'm on the right track or not. I was looking at the calendar, and for tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., I have CAD CHF for a buy, and that's also news based.
Okay, don't ask. Are you asking me about Elvis's stuff?
Oh no, not Elvis's stuff. It's just I'm just looking at a chart as well, as far as support and resistance.
Okay, so I like CAD CHF right now. Hold on. You see where CAD is at and CHF is at? So I know I was in this in my other account. Let's take a look. In my other account based off of a similar setup than this. But either way, I was doing that 15-minute thing. I think DJ's on here tonight. But I was kind of testing out that now and later. As you guys know, I don't really use it. But if I'm going to try to teach on it, I'm going to have to use it. So this is a buy on the 4-hour, and it's a buy on the triple arrows on the 15-minute. So why are you waiting till tomorrow at 8:30? You're waiting until after that because of the news?
Nah, because I didn't need to. I'm still trying to get everything together. Because I mean, it's a lot to follow all at once.
But I want to understand, and I want to help. So can you explain to me why you see this move, but why don't you see it until 8:30 tomorrow?
Because I mean, according to the news, that's what it was saying. It's not supposed to happen today. The buy from the news is supposed to happen tomorrow. It's not supposed to happen right now.
Says who?
Like I just changed around on my chart setup, so it's like I don't have the triple arrows. I just have support and resistance set up with a few indicators.
Okay, so let's go to support and resistance. Okay. Guys, the news does not always predict. It does not always do. It does not. It moves the markets. Not always, but sometimes. So this is a bigger time frame. Obviously, this is a nice flag pattern. So if it breaks this, obviously we're continuing a sell, right? But here's the thing: unless you're going to be a news trader, I really don't think that's what you should focus on. I mean, if you get good at it and that's you do you. But for right now, like, that's irrelevant. If you're going to be a trader, you have to know how to see the move and take the move. If you're going to wait based off of that news, great, wait. And if not, that's fine too. Because after the news, it might be more confirmed. The news might drop it to hit the stop losses, and then it'll explode. Or it could just be the thing that pushes it up. We have no way of knowing what we don't know. So, I mean, I know that a lot of people are coming in, and particularly with you who's new strategy, and preaching about news trading, which is fantastic for some people. That's great. I know people who trade the news. Great. But 90 some odd % of successful traders, including Wall Street, including most big banks, they don't physically trade the news. So we already know that it's massively manipulated. We already know that. But then there's no concrete answer. So I like this pair for a buy currently, based off of the 4 hour arrows here. And let's go the 4 hour, based off of the now and later to be specific. Okay. So we have triple arrows on the now and later, and we have triple, so on the 4 hour, and we have triple arrows on the 15-minute. I like it for the buy for that. That's all I've got. I can't answer your question about the news, though. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Jenny, I'm just going to say something really weird that I tried last week for I don't know what reason. You can probably demo this and see if it floats on any type of boat. But what I did was I looked at TradingView and say, look, pulled up a random pair or whatever, like Aussie CAD or whatever, right? And I went to the daytime frame, and I looked back at say like last year. So what I found, and maybe a couple years before that too. So what I found is almost like so say today's candle was red, bearish, right? Last year's candle was bullish. And then the year before that candle on the same day was bearish. So it's almost like it goes into like the opposite pattern, and like different pairs act a little bit differently or whatnot. But I think I did like all Aussie pairs like one night in my demo. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a buy on all of these because there was supposed to be a green candle like the next day, right? And so went to sleep, woke up, and all of it was in profit. I was like, it's so weird.
Wait a minute, you entered during Asian session based off of the opposite color of last year's candle, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you realize you have like a 50% chance of that being right because you're using the day candle, right?
Yeah, but it was like on all of them. So maybe just one wasn't in profit, but I was like, that's just super weird. I know it's like random as, I don't know. I was like, yeah, that is just uncanny. But I was like thinking, so every year, like we already know what tomorrow's news is going to be, or, you know, all of the regular standard news, whatever that they drop is already forecasted pretty much. You know, we just don't know the numbers per se, you know? So I was just looking at it that way, but maybe I might be like, oh, it's a conspiracy or you know, whatever. But yeah, I just thought it was weird.
So yeah, like you got me, because look, I've been there too, so I'm not even gonna get all judgy on you. Like, I'm like, hey, you know what I figured out? So if last month's high was this month's low and this one's low, and like I've done all those things that like where I talked myself into circles and convinced myself it made sense, and I'm like, so I figured it out. Guess what? Guess what I figured out? And I would just go on and on and on, like thinking that any of it made any sense at all. But if you think that works, then here's your job. You ready? If you want to test that theory, you know, in a scientific, I don't know most of these words, but you want empirical data, right? You want empirical evidence, imperial, whatever, however you say those words. Then your job is to test that for 2 weeks to a month, doing exactly what you said, and try that theory. Hey, guy, what is your name, Mr. Casey? Like, put your real name on Zoom so I can call you by your name, because it's like Pippa Longistu. I have no idea how to say this. Oh, hey, Brent.
Piggy long stocks. That's what it is. Like.
Oh, I'm like Piggy Longistu. Sorry, now I really feel smart. Gotcha. KC. Okay. But if you want to test your theory, then like that's how you're going to have to do it, is to, and then it's going to teach you a whole bunch anyway. So you may as well do a 0.01 in a live account if you can afford it. If you can afford to test it with some real money, take what you just said, test it for 2 weeks to a month in a live account. That means despite news, despite holidays, despite your mood, despite your girl, despite anything and everything, like your job is to test this every day and to see what the accuracy is. And then you'll know for sure if it works.
Yeah.
But that just sounds, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll try that on one of my my other accounts there. So yeah,
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, especially if a few screens running. Like once you guys have some success, you'll have your swing trading method, which I'm going to get to here in a minute. And then you'll have like your scalping or your intraday, method. And then for the most part, you do your trading and then you're just like kosher. So testing a few weird strategies isn't like a chore. It's not a bad thing. It's more of a scientific experiment. It's like, it's kind of fun because you get to see what works. You get to like reason and you grow a lot as a person. It's exciting to be able to do that. Like if you're asking me, it doesn't sound like a very sound theory to me. It sounds like one of those things that I would have said 2 years ago, like, oh my gosh, guess what I figured out? It sounds like one of those, I know that I know that I know that I know. And it turns out to be something I didn't know. But either way, it's fun to play with and it's fun to learn about. So you should totally do it. I don't think it's going to add up too much, but because we all see those things and then we realize that we don't see anything there. So hindsight's 2020. It is. But awesome. Thank you for sharing that. At least it's interesting. I don't get big on that whole candle color thing because you guys got to realize. So I would have to find a good example. Of course, I may or may not be able to. Let's see. This whole candle is green, right? It closed. That's a bad example. But I know you guys know what I'm saying when I say this candle has to move this whole direction. So it could have been purple. It could have shot up here, went all the way back down, like what this candle did in a day's time.
Right.
It's not necessarily what we think it is. So the fact that it could have went all the way up here, closed back down, and then came back up, and that's why it's green. But you could have saw this here, and it was purple here, and it was purple. Like, I don't know what determines the candle colors for Japanese candlesticks, and I tried to learn about that, but I learned that it's very inconsistent and not dependable. So that's why I don't take a lot of stock into that. Not to mention that whole counting on the daily candle color, I'm 1,000% against that because we already know that Asian in general has the lowest volume. London has a big move, and New York typically corrects that move or reverses from it. So that means if you're entering a trade during New York session based off of the color of the candle on the daily chart, you're potentially entering it the wrong way because it could literally be in the middle of the pullback. So it makes no logical sense to do so. So that's just my theory, though. So I don't know. It's not my thing.
I'll test it out.
It's cool. So thank you for sharing it. I hope that that's a good thing.
Hey, if it is, hey.
Figure that out. You need to come smack me with some numbers and be like, hey, yo, listen. And you can do it gently and lovingly. You'd be like, look, lady. Hey, lady, guess what I found out? I found out that I've got a month worth of data that says this is technically 70% accurate. And then I can prove that if I add 2 or 3 other, pieces of evidence, I just got myself my very own strategy. And boy, it looks good.
Yep.
It'd be fun. Okay, awesome. So who had the next question?
Hey, Jenny, this is Ian.
Hey, Ian, how are you?
I don't know if anybody was before me. I mean, I don't have any way to tell, but if somebody wants to ask a question first, that's fine.
You do you. Go ahead.
Okay. Discussing that CAD CHF that you're looking at, you said in your perspective that looks good for a buy right now. Right now.
This is particularly, I had to go looking for a now and later so I could teach about the now and later.
Okay.
So specifically we have to be specific when we're talking about strategies. So for the now and later, what do we have? We have triple arrows here, correct? If we pop down to the 15-minute chart, okay, we also have triple arrows here. So keeping it like uber simple.
Okay.
Boom, boom, and we're breaking above this. This would be good for X amount of pips, not a bunch of pips. The now and laters are not meant to go forever.
Right.
For the now and later specifically, this is a good trade for the now and later. Your CAD is way stronger than your CHF. It might pull back and may or may not pan out. The now and later isn't particularly my thing, but for the now and later, that's what we've got. So this is it.
Okay.
What do you see in there? What are you looking at? What strategy? What time frame?
No particular strategy. I'm still working around my head. Working in my head around just trying to figure out whether it's a good buy or a good sell. I mean, I know which direction is what, but just trying to figure out, is this going to go up or is this going to go down is still a challenge. And now, as I'm looking at this, I'm on the H4. I've got the trend lines going down both sides of this, and it's this is currently almost at the top of the trend line, and you've got you got those little daily dots up there. So I'm kind of feeling like this is more potentially more potentially a sell. Plus the RSI is just below or just touching the 50, but more below. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at this thinking, yeah, and my on the MACD, my green. I don't know if it's the same for you, but on the MACD, it's below the red line. So I'm kind of like, okay, well that's potential sell. So I'm just looking at things that tell me, okay, this is a potential sell. But if Jenny says this is a buy, guess which one I would do first. So I'm just trying to figure out different techniques.
I adore you, I do. But listen, I want you to learn to trust you. So I don't care if it comes from me or anything shy of a burning bush. And I'm going to say that 1,000 times. Your job is, if you can't see what I'm saying I see, your job is to not take that signal. You can kick yourself later when you say, oh man, I hit take profit. Oh, and then dang, right? But don't take any trades from me or the guy next door or anybody else if it doesn't match your rules. So this isn't even particularly how I would trade. As you guys know, I really take attention to those daily dots. They work for me pretty well. Granted, I would have taken it back here for the sell, so I'm not looking for a sell now, but I'm also not looking to enter a buy either, right? But okay. Of the now and later strategy. So 3 participants raise their hand. So I'm going to answer these questions real quick, and then I want to go over strategies. And then if you have another question about that, you can be the first to step up. Because that's the point, is you guys are focusing on so many strategies that you're all very lost. You're all very inconsistent. And I was there too, so I was no different. I was trying so many things that I learned nothing. Like, I learned no things, even though I was doing 1,000 things. So I will explain why this is a buy for the now and later. It's not for me. This isn't even how I trade.
Right.
No, but I want to go over all the different strategies real quick, which was cool. So does that answer your question? And then remind me after we go over that, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. Hey, Avery, did I already get your question? Let's see. Avery, are you there? Lawrence, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Jenny? How you doing?
Wonderful. What's your question?
All right. So on the 15th of August, I took a trade on AUD CAD based on the 4-hour triple arrow. I had it cleared the EMAs. I had the ADX and MACD crossover. I think I got stopped out, but I think it's because some of my stop loss too tight. I just want to kind of get an idea if I was on the right path. The time I entered was at 10 in the morning.
And so what happened is my realtor
Hey, somebody's talking to their realtor, so if you could mute yourself, we definitely don't want to eavesdrop on your conversation. It's at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock Eastern time.
10 o'clock in the morning, Central Time.
Yeah, I'm probably going to bomb this, but we're going to go with approximately right here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is probably pretty close. I don't want to try to do the math at this moment. My head is so fried in terms of time zones right now.
No problem.
So if this is where we're at, so you entered everything lined up, right?
Yep.
And at this point, we're making a double top. And if you got in right there, you would have still been in some profit. Let's see. Not a lot, 35. If you got in at the beginning of this candle, because this is, again, a bearish candle, somewhere in the beginning, you would have had no profit.
And that's how we ended up talking.
Maybe 15 pips. And you got stopped out. So where did you put your stop loss?
I had set my stop loss for
My GPS kept saying,
hold on one second, I'll tell you. I set it at 40 pips because I was only shooting for 40. I was looking for a 1-to-1 type ratio.
But why did you pick 40 though?
Just because I was shooting for 40 pips, that's all.
Okay,
But
so
I think I should have set it at least at one of the arrows or the support lines is where I should have set it.
so
Because
let's pretend like we can't see any of this. Right here is where it should have been.
yeah, and it would have went in profit for me. I see it now.
So guys, management is going to be most of where you make or lose your money. So this is a bit of a late entry, particularly because we already know these daily dots were still here, right?
Yeah.
It's like if we had entered in here, your faster entry, okay? Let's see if everything lined up. If we had entered even when we came back up and kind of first broke the zero right here. So now we're confirmed in the same direction as the triple arrow. We've got a crossover. We've got a doji. Everything is looking good. So we entered anywhere in here. This is your better entry. But once you already have these daily dots, so like if I had saw this, I can't say what I can't say. I think I took this on a live call. That's the only time I log into this demo anyways. But if I had saw it back here, I would see there's enough room to take a profit, right? Even if I saw it right here, there's enough room. But I can't say what I don't know, and I don't want to mislead you. So there's a good chance if I had saw that in this candle, unless I was going for a scalp, I wouldn't have entered because there's not enough.
See what it is. Okay, so you're at 10 o'clock at night. I did it in the morning. So if you like.
Oh no, this is definitely on 8:15. So this is during the day, New York time. I promise you. So this is, okay, hold on, I'll tell you. The 2400 is 5 o'clock Eastern, so 2000 is 1 o'clock Eastern, so this would be about noon your time, right? And if you took it at 10, it would be on this one technically.
Okay. Yeah.
This candle. I promise you it's the right time frame.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay.
So had you seen this, like even if we're going off of this, any of these candles, let's just pick any one, just for accuracy purposes, we would see that we don't have enough room to go. What I would do is I'd either set an alert or I'd put a pending order right here to say, hey, if it breaks above this, now we have a confirmed continuation, but otherwise we'll wait on a pullback.
Okay, that's it.
Coming up to the same top, you'll learn to see the markets that way. So here's a safe entry. You know, you're taking it in the same direction. You have room to move. Even here, which is against the triple arrows, you have your daily dots, your little arrow, yellow arrow, 4-hour crossover. You could have even taken this for half of the ADR easily without much hesitation or any loss or drawdown. If you got in anywhere, let's say you got in a bad entry, it went against you first, you still would have got your pips.
Okay, that's it. I got you.
Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, answer my question. It was just about my entry, but I get, at least I have the right mindset. Like, okay, triple arrows, and then I just need to assess, like zoom back and see what's going on with the market before I make an entry.
Yes, exactly. Well, you don't even have to go in other time frames, but this was just for this particular pair. We already knew it was stalling out right here. We knew that it was due for a pullback. So if it had broke this, now we're looking for a continuation. Otherwise, we already know we're going to pull back at least some. It's either going to break through and pull back, or it's going to break down and pull back. So
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, it was just some demo I was testing. I was testing out the triple arrows on the 4-hour and how to trade it. Just play around with it, and I see what I did wrong.
What you gotta know with the triple arrows on the 4-hour is they're killer accurate. Like they're very accurate. But the problem is like this happens. Well, this is a perfect example, unfortunately. This is an incomplete example. So let's scroll back in time.
Right.
Let's find the not perfect and the not. I'll have to move my zoom bar, if it will let me. That's beautiful. I like even these moves right here. Boom, boom. Those are perfect.
So, okay, like that move there, the one where it was perfect. Would you have taken a trade based on the 818 crossover and it cleared that 818? Would you have gone into it?
So like right here with the daily dots?
Yeah,
yeah. Yes, I would take both of these trades.
Because the 818 cross, you saw you have freedom to go up. So you would have done that?
Well, so a lot of people use different things. They use the Ichimoku TK cross, which as you guys know is only fancy weighted EMAs. That's all it is. Some people use a singular EMA. Everyone has a different way of doing it, but some people use the money tree string line. Of course, I like that a lot. I'm going to introduce that to the group. It's a great tool, just depending on what your eyes see best. So having said that, here's what we have. We have X amount of confirmations in this time frame, right?
Yeah.
So what confirmations do we have? We don't have our triple arrows, but we have our little arrow and our yellow arrow. We have 4-hour and daily, so that's 4. We're above the 8, and we have a crossover that is 5 or 6, depending on how you count them. ADX is saying buy with momentum. So look, our momentum line is going up, right? We now have currency strength in terms of like Australian being much stronger than Canada when we have a crossover down here. So we've got our first fast entry. Go over a little bit more, we even have our safer entry. When the price is above the 0 line on the MACD and price is breaking above the 0 line, the 50 on the chart. So either way, you have a safe trade right here. This meets X amount of our rules. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And that's a perfect move. That's perfect. The only troublesome part is, and I know the solution like mentally, putting it in practice is hard. So like when you get stuck in this is a mess and it's not fun. Like, could you have still taken a win? Absolutely. And closed out close to breaking even down. But this is just one of those emotional kind of awful roller coasters. It's no fun. It's hard to get out of there. That's why you wonder why I brought the moving ADX back. It's because the momentum line is one of the few indicators that will keep us out of this right here.
Yeah.
Because we already have things that tell us to get in here, get in here. We already know to do that. We already have indicators that tell us what's a good trade to get in. We're looking for indicators and additions that tell us, hey, don't get in right now. Don't make this mistake. That's what those are the additions we're looking for. So.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. I super appreciate you. Okay. Anybody else with a major question? Hey, Helen, I'm going to mute you if that's you talking to your realtor. I think we don't want to eavesdrop. Okay, any other questions? So tonight what I really wanted to go over, I'll double check the chat. It's somewhere, there it is. I don't know why it disappears like that, it's so weird. Thank you, Derek, I appreciate you. I tried calling her. Do you know Helen, Derek? Yes, guys, we have the compounding sheet in multiple formats. Well, thank you for calling her.
Yes.
We'll do the live sessions, Joe, mostly in New York, but sometimes I'll jump on whenever. So for the most part, that's when I take the majority of my trades is New York. So it works well for me in general. I think that kind of answers most of my questions. Just so you guys know, when we're talking about brokers, yes, I have affiliate links. Yes, I do discounted coaching for that. No, it's not a whole bunch. I made like literally less than 30 cents or something. It was crazy. It was altogether between all 3 brokers. It took me like 3 months or like 7, 8, 11 bucks and whatever. So, but every broker is a little different, whether or not you're affiliated with mine or anybody else's. Just make sure you get your own information based off of your own account, based off of your own broker and your own circumstances. If you do not take a bonus if you're going to do this challenge. If you take a bonus, the majority of your, if you take a bonus, you have what I would call like ghost leverage. It's not actual leverage. So you're trading what's not there, and then you're risking double of your real money by trying to pretend like you have half as much as somebody else's. So your leverage is actually like 10% as much as what it should be. It's really bad. Do not take a bonus if you're doing this challenge. I repeat, do not take a bonus or a like they have those cash advance things. Don't do either of those because it changes your account exponentially. So there you go. Then now in terms of tonight, wow, man, we talked forever, is what I really wanted to go over. And now that we're kind of finally here, the couple different strategies we use in this group. I'm going to leave Elvis's out because it's not my business, nor is it my expertise. So I definitely don't want to be discussing something I do not know or understand or use or have any success with. So Joe, please message me privately on Telegram, and I will do so. You can message me on Telegram if you can find me on there, please, because I can't read all that right now. Sorry, that's a lot. Having said that, we know we use the now and later. You guys know I'm not a super big fan of that. I mostly would use the flip-flop in place of that. And you guys know we have the Stairmaster and we have our swing trade. And I kind of have a version of the swing trade in terms of the triple arrows with just the daily dots. Man, it works wonderfully for me. It's very confirmed. It's very awesome. And I do really well with it. I can tell you its weaknesses, and I can tell you how and why it works, and when it's a challenge. I can even tell you how to get alerts for it and how to compound weekly. Like it would take you a few months to hit, I want to say 6, it would take you a few months, like consistently, just by taking 4 to 5 trades a week pretty accurately. Like you're going to still take a loss. Some weeks you'll take 2 or 3, maybe even based off of 4 to 5 trades, but it's doable. So I do currently have the wrong pair up. Go me. Let's see. CAD CHF. I was looking for a now and later trade because, again, guys, I don't really trade this way. And it works. It works really well for a lot of people. In fact, there's a couple people who said, hey, look, I started following rules and I've had X amount of wins out of X amount of losses. Hey, I started doing exactly this, and guess what? It works. Like when I stop listening to everybody else and I just follow the rules, it works. I'm like, yeah, see, I told you. I told you. But either way, so how we use the now and later as quickly as possible now that this is the end of this recording, not the beginning, is pretty simple. We're looking on the 15-minute time frame. We're looking for our triple arrows, in which we have that here. The yellow arrow, as you know, is the 5 and 13 cross. These two are privately programmed. And then, of course, we have 4-hour dots. Now, the challenge is saying, okay, a confirmed trade on the 15-minute time frame, which would mean triple arrows, whatever oscillators we use. You can pick your first. I did test out that peak killer. No, I'm not a fan. It does repaint. And we already have enough repainting indicators, so I'm not silly enough to add another one. To me, that's just silly. I was pretty impressed with this one. I'm going to keep it these colors just for time's sake, although I would change it to my pretty purple. What I liked about this one in terms of a piece of confirmation is it literally does the same thing as our MACD does. The only difference is on our MACD, we can see the crossover here, so this technically happens a little faster. But I do like this, just in case you guys are wondering, if you guys were for another indicator, so I'll leave that on super messy just for conversational purposes. On the now and later, we are only looking for our triple arrows, and we want it to be in the same direction as the 30-minute and 1 hour if you're doing it that way. Or if you were going to ask me, I would just make sure it's in the same direction as the 4 hour. So if this is in the same direction as the 4 hour, we would have our stop loss below support. If it's too big, we can use the daily dots, or above the arrow and below the arrow. Pretty simple. That's not a huge stop loss whatsoever. It's super doable. We try to stick to a 1-to-1 or greater ratio. If you guys notice, I'm dragging and dropping, and I'm just literally going to drag it to like this previous high. You can see where price kind of stalled out quite a bit. We're pretty confident price is going to stall out there. I'm going to right click on this chart and I'm going to add a trailing stop. This is not a low spread broker, so it's not my favorite in terms of scalping. I'm going to definitely give it more room. So 15 pips, I add a 0 because it's counted in points. I hit OK. But that's really it. So as long as this is in the same direction, which we already confirmed earlier in the call, that's all we need to do to confirm a now and later trade. And this is. So we have our triple arrows. We know we're going in the same direction. I personally don't like how it's against the daily dots, personally, like for how I trade. But in general, this goes right alongside and would make a good now and later trade. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody use the now and later? And anybody at all? Vicky, stop it.
Hey, Jenny, this is DJ.
Hey, DJ, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. You use the now and later.
Yeah, that's why I'm stepping up, because I use it. And it works. As you already know, I've been having a lot of success with it.
No. Would you take a trade at this time of night with your now and later strategy?
You said, well, I take a trade when?
The evening session with your strategy?
Yeah, I would actually. I would. I would. I was looking at a CAD JPY actually for a buy. Just waiting for it to break this fractal.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I like, well, CAD, as you know, is super strong, so I definitely think that's good. But JPY made some moves today, so it might like be a little exhausted. I haven't looked at it though. But guys, that's literally it. It's later. So that is one of the options you have for scalping. I mean, DJ, is there anything you'd want to add to your now and later? Well, you put my little fractals on there, huh?
Yeah, those fractals are powerful, Jenny. I was telling somebody else in the Telegram yesterday when they asked about it. It's just like Bill Williams said, fractals, they control the chaos of the market. It kind of just gives you clearer entries and exits.
I do. I love them. I do. I absolutely love them. Have you tried the Renko bar indicator yet?
No, I was about to message you and ask where I can find it at. Did you drop it in the group already?
I'll send it to you. I've just been playing with it for right now. But I kind of like it because it kind of limits some of the noise. But I want to thoroughly backtest it before I add it or take it away. The only thing I'm willing to play with at this point, guys, is just stuff that it's going to stop me from entering a false move. That's it. I already have enough stuff to tell me to enter the move. I just need something to tell me not to enter the move. So this will go up. This you will get your pips from if you guys take this buy. Not a maybe, baby. As you guys can see, we broke that fractal. I think I showed you that on the 30-minute. Oh, that was like something else. That was like, so CAD is moving. It's going to. You will get your 10 pips from this. So that's really all you're doing with the now and later. It's not overly complicated. There are ways that you can make it simpler. You're just making sure you're going with it. You're not going for a lot of pips. Guys, it takes you 24 trades based off of 10 pips and 48% growth to take a $100 account to $1 million. Yes, it requires 100% accuracy. So if you cut that in half in terms of your percentage of growth, you add some errors in there, you can literally hit 6 or 7 figures in less than 50 trades, and you can do it really reasonably with about 90 some odd % accuracy. So we shall see 2 candles later, huh? Yes, they do. I'm big on fractals. One of the strategies I have is based solely off of fractals, period. And you'll be surprised at how well they work. It works exponentially well. So you guys know that strategy. Your next strategy is obviously like your intraday, and this is what I would call your intraday. All you're going to use is your triple arrows. This is a mess. I'm going to start taking some stuff off. I'm going to take off the wrinkle bars because that shouldn't be on here. I just wanted to show you that it's really not that different than the Math D. It's just it takes off some of the noise depending on what you like better. Silly butt. Sorry. See. Hey, Donna, are you on here? Can you talk? Let's see. That's out of order. I just said oopsie again, so now Kaden can say that again. Every time I say that, every time I say that, I think of him every time.
I tried to get him to say it again earlier, and he shook his head, so I have to catch him in the moment.
I know, right? But it's so cute. I adore it. It makes me smile. Okay, so whoever just asked in the chat real quick, I'm sorry, about fractals, There's several different ways to use them. I prefer to use them as the breakout. So what that means is we are on the triple arrow system, as you guys can see. So I like to use it on the 1 hour preferably. So we have triple arrows right here, and we're not
Hey, where
sure
you at?
a crossover. Hey Todd, I'm at home. Where are you?
Oh shoot, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Everyone's a little noisy tonight. Maybe it's that end of summer restlessness. To explain how fractals are used, can you see this really faint fractal right here? It's kind of a messy chart. But can you see that right there? Can you unmute your microphone, guy? Can you? There you go, Alex. So I just want to make sure you can see it. So if you can see this fractal right here, and we're not quite sure if this is going to do what we want it to do. When price is below that fractal, we have a confirmed sell. This one, as you can see, kind of consolidated for a while, and that's awful. It's not fun. But as you can see, price broke right here. Here's a fractal, and then it broke over here. We took it for a sell. When price is making lower lows, that's how I take it. Some people take it as, and then I see the flaws and the the advantages to both sides, but it's totally up to you. So like if we're looking for buys and this gives you another downward facing fractal, you would take it as another buy. If you were looking for buys and you get another one, we take it as another buy up until you stop getting them. But I prefer the fractal breakout mentality because it's a late entry, which isn't fun, but it's a confirmed entry because you're going where the money is going. So it's super, super easy. Does that help you see them a little different? They're really simple, really, really simple. Same thing over here. We're looking for buys, but we're not quite sure. We're in the same direction as the daily 4 hour. We have a crossover. We broke above the 50. MACD is going up. Currency strengths are agreement. ADX is an agreement. Boom, baby. And now we're just not sure. And we would be right to be not sure because look, price is kind of stalling out. But once price breaks that fractal, I'm going to get my crosshairs to show you. Like right here, price breaks that fractal. Now we know that we know. We've got to save 20 pips. 20 pips can change your entire life consistently in a month. I'm telling you. 20 pips is it.
Okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure how to use them.
I love them. I love them. You're welcome. Okay, so pretty simple. I hope that answers that question. I think that was Godwin who was asking about fractals, but cool. Thank you, Alex, for speaking up because I wasn't sure. Yes, Brent, I love fractals. So on to our intraday. So basically, if you're going to be using like the triple arrow system on the 1 hour, similar concept, you want to be in the same direction as your support. If you're using support, you don't have to use it. You can be in the same direction provided you are following all of your rules, whatever they are. So maybe you don't like these indicators. Cool, no more power to you. Maybe you really love the RSI or maybe you really love the something. Just make sure you're using it in a trending direction and not an overbought, oversold direction. So like the way we use RSI, which is our purple line, I know this chart is messy, guys, is not based off of being at 70, we're going to try to buy. We're using based off of it breaking the 0 line. So that's kind of make sure whatever indicator or oscillator you're using, you do so accordingly. And again, same concept. Whatever your chart looks like, I can't guarantee that, but all you're going to be doing is finding your indicators, deciding how many confirmations you have or need, count them up. You'd have your daily, your 4 hour, your triple arrows, crossover, break of the fractals, 50 moving average, ADX, MACD, or Renko bars, or major killer. Although I did test that major killer, guys, I don't know why you like it, because it repaints. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it moves. So that makes that pretty useless. It moves, like the whole peak moves. It's not steady at all. So either way, I tested that too. Whatever your flavor is, you can use that as your confirmation. And the concept is you can go for half of the average daily range, which is a very, very safe and consistent bet. The only downside to that is keeping a steady risk to reward ratio in terms of your stop loss. The major peak killer, the major pain killer, the peak thingy, it repaints. Do you know what indicator that is, MJ? Yeah, it totally repaints. Well, if you don't know what it is, just don't get it. That's all. A lot of people in their group are using it. So I was looking for another piece of evidence to keep me out of awful trades like this moment right here. Because that's really all I'm looking for, is any evidence that I can use to keep me out of a bad trade. Fractals did not repaint. No, Austin. Fractals are very old. Very old. So, does that, it repaints like the big arrow. Yeah, but the big arrow is, I don't know, it's different. I'm not putting any oscillators on my chart that moves. So, that moves like that. The big arrow is fine, because if you're only paying attention to it if you have a money tree string line crossover, change colors, if you have a currency, if you strands crossover, if you have your 8 and 18. So sure, did we probably get like a big arrow here? Yes, but it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't even close to ready. Did we probably have the big arrow somewhere? Let's see. Yep, up in here probably, but it reset. But the thing is, we still made a healthy move, and you wouldn't have taken it until it confirmed anyway. So I don't mind some repeating indicators. I do remind DJ says the fractals disappear if the 5th candle in the pattern breaks formation. DJ, can you talk?
Yes.
So I know that they appear after 2 closed candles, correct?
Yes, they do. Well, actually, the fractal will appear after the 4th candle in the formation, after the 4th candle closes. And so once the 5th candle opens in the formation, if it doesn't complete that pattern, then the fractal will disappear. So for example, if you have an up fractal being formed, so you got 2 lower closes, and then you have a higher close, and then you got 2 more closes on the side. If that 5th candle right here closes above it, then this fractal will disappear. But if it closes below it, it will stay there permanently. Does that make any sense?
My brain is wrapping around it. Sorry. Oh, okay. So yes, I know that there's a 5 candle rule in terms of fractals. I don't know what it is well enough to know this steadily. So, but either way, how would that be possible? Because then you'd have to. They would only appear in trending moments, and that's simply not the case, right? Because look. So if it was based off of a 5 candle algorithm, then how do we get any of this? Like any of it? How does it happen? I mean, this one.
Those are 5 candle patterns. Because sometimes you can even get fractals on the same candle on the top and the bottom.
Well, I know, but this one is 3 candles down, and you have 2 fractals there. This one is consistent. Here's one, right?
No, so the patterns can overlap, but it's still, if you look at each fractal, you'll see any fractal you pick, whether it be a bearish or a bullish one. If you look on the side of both of those fractals, the candles, then I guarantee that if it's a fractal, if it's a down fractal, then the 2 candles on each side, the close of it is going to be higher than that one. And if it's an up fractal, the candles on the 2 sides of it is going to be lower than that one. That's the only way they work.
This didn't work. I don't know. Yeah, there is a science to it, and you might even know it better than me. You definitely know more than me about fractals. So, well, because you did all and then nitty details. I just know how to use them. I don't know any of that.
Yeah. I mean, I did spend a lot of time, hours on it actually, and watched all the material I could find on Bill Williams himself, and he was explaining it too. And I even seen it myself. I've seen fractals disappear when that 5th candle didn't complete the formation.
You'll have to explain that to me though, and I'll teach you other cool stuff. I'll teach you how to use them cooler, but I don't know that stuff.
Okay, that's a deal.
Okay, cool, because I don't know that stuff. And for the guy who Austin asking if it's an exit strategy, the answer is definitely not. I do know a guy who used them as an exit strategy. I would not. I would use it as an entrance strategy. Hey Godwin, yes, you can compound. So there's another guy, I think it's Curtis. He's messaging me about something that maybe I could just do with some of you guys. Totally with the group only, totally just for fun, and kind of have like a certificate. He even created a whole certificate and like a whole announcement. It's kind of cute, actually. It's really cute. It's cool. Where like we would take a $25 account, and as a challenge, just see who could grow it the largest. So we'd have to verify that you didn't make any other deposits or withdrawals throughout, but whoever had the biggest account balance, in 30 days, we'd take a trip or something, or we'd meet up in Florida, or he created a certificate, I set a vacation, just so we're all on the same page here. Because it's like vacations are pretty cheap, but either way, whatever, each to their own. It would be a fun challenge. So you can grow a very tiny account, but it takes time and it takes patience. It takes accuracy. So if I had it my way, I'd have us all have very small accounts, like maybe $50 accounts, and say, okay, we're going to keep doing it until you guys hit 6 figures. And I don't care how many times it takes, like we're going to do it. So I just don't want you guys to lose a bunch of money. Most people who have compounded to extreme levels, they've been willing to blow a lot of accounts to do so. Whereas I don't know your guys' personal situations to know if you guys can afford to blow a $100 account 10 times or not. Whereas I know a lot of people who've blown a $100 account 10 times. So I think one guy blows a $100 account like literally maybe 4 to 5 times a week, every week, and then that 1 week, he does really well for about 3 to 4 weeks. He gets it to 6, 7 figures, he withdraws. And then he like blows the $100 account, $200 account. I think he's up to 200 now. Like literally, it's gotta be more than 5 times in a week. It's gotta be. And then again, he'll spend a few weeks doing that, and then he gets that one, and then there you go. But he goes hard, really hard. So I don't know about that, Austin. I don't use them that way. I don't. Sorry, I don't. He's asking if fractals on the day one for an entry exit would be a good. I don't know. Because price could technically continue, and like DJ was just saying, which I think somebody else tried to explain to me, but I wasn't super receptive of it at the time. So yes, you can use the flip-flop method, but your accuracy needs to be on point. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, but so there's the flip-flop method. Sorry, guys. Back to what I was saying. Now and later. And then, of course, we have our 1 hour kind of just intraday. And you can do it in the same direction as the 15-minute chart and the 4 hour. Or you can keep it very, very simple. Your most accurate times is going to be when you check the 1 hour or the 4 hour, period. That'll be your highest accuracy across anything that you do in terms of the triple arrow system. It works very well. Follow the rules. It's very easy. I'm not going to go over the flip-flop strategy tonight because I want to keep it super simple. I've already done several videos on that. It works. The only reason why it's not working for some people is if they don't follow rules. If you follow the rules and you're using a tight spread broker, it's almost impossible not to get your needed pips. And if you're struggling with getting enough pips, then cut the amount of pips you're going for in half until you find out your accuracy. And then you'll see what's going on. And then obviously, guys, we have our 4 hour swing trades. This is by far the easiest and best method you can possibly think of. Obviously, this is a clean, perfect move. We don't want to discuss that one because that one's just too easy. But if we scroll back, and again, this is not a perfect pair. Sure, this was a mess. We got our triple arrows in. Crossover, we hovered around this for days. I'm sure for days people were panicking. For days, that is the 7-11. It didn't make an actual big move until what, the 19th. So for an entire week, somebody was losing their mind. Okay. This is the 10th technically, depending on if you got in early or not. Maybe even the 9th. It didn't make an actual move until the 19th. So this is 10 days worth of people freaking out. But if you had held it and like not stressed and not worried at all, we said that's when it actually happened, was here. Is it right? It's very, very easy. You would have got 200-300 pips. No question, no drama. If you don't want to take all of these moves and miss out on this, you can also do the same amount of rules with just the daily dots. So for instance, we have our crossover, everything lines up perfectly in the same direction as the daily, the 4 hour, little arrow and yellow arrow crossover. On this one, I wouldn't necessarily wait for the break of the 50 because you're giving up too many pips here. You have no choice but to take the faster entry if you're playing a pullback. And then you take it for maybe half the ADR or the whole ADR, depending on what pair you're referencing. And you can do this all day long, over and over again. So those are kind of the three core strategies that the group learns and needs to learn in the group. So my suggestion is you guys can have little accounts, baby accounts, demo accounts, whatever accounts you feel happy with, but just make sure you're only trading one strategy per one account for 2 weeks to a month. Once you've gotten that one strategy to at least 70% or greater, don't move on, don't learn something else, don't add to and don't take away, don't trade or change anything until you can get that strategy to 70, 80%. Because if you can't get that strategy to 70, 80%, that means you're still functioning in a user error kind of playing field. Because we already know we already know what the accuracy ratio is. So Austin, going for half of the ADR is just really, really easy. It's simple. If I'm on the 4-hour chart, I usually go for the full ADR. So, does anybody have any questions about all of those strategies? Or the challenge, since everyone was talking about that? Or the now and later? Anybody at all?
Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
Hey, this is Ian. If you'd like to cover some of that now and later again, getting back on this CAD CHF, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, cool. So the now and later again, guys. So we're up to a couple pips to the highest spread broker, so that's pretty good.
Hey, Jenny. I'm not sure if it's me, but suddenly you sound real far.
Sorry, I leaned back in the office chair.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There we go. So now my face is really close to you, making out with my computer. No, I'm joking. I'm just I promise. And for the now and later, all we're doing, okay? And you can add to or take away whatever rules you need, whatever your eyes see best. The whole concept is you're taking a set of rules, and I'm going to try to speak as super accurately as possible, but a set of rules on the 15-minute chart, right?
Right.
And in this case, we would have our triple arrows. We have our ADX. We have our MACD, currency crossover. Everything is lining up. This looks good for a buy, right?
Okay.
So our now and later means we can either take some for now and later. Like, I don't know, Pat created that name. It's a candy bar. Right? It's not a candy bar. It's like candy. I know that.
I know it. I know it well. That's from my generation.
Oh, see, there you go. So you know about it. So it's candy.
Yes.
Now and later, right? The whole concept is you can take this trade for now and you can take some of it to hold on to for later, to explain what he's meaning by that. And why we're saying that is because you have now a fully confirmed chart on the 15-minute time frame and also on the 4-hour. Do you see that?
Yes.
So for instance, if I wanted to take 2 entries, one of them with a really tight take profit and stop loss, and one of them with a larger take profit and a larger stop loss. And the purpose of that is that you don't have to keep trading. You can actually go to the NASCAR race or go to the zoo or go to the beach or whatever. Wherever you want to go, you can go to the Philippines. Like, you can go do other things because now you've used your time wisely, right? So you found this trade, it's matching up on the 15-minute and the 4-hour, and you're golden. You don't have to go looking for 20 other trades, because if you found 3 of those in a day, for the most part, you're going to close out your big profits for those scalps that you took on the 15-minute chart, and you've got a few swings that are making you money while you're on your date night, right?
Gotcha.
So, like, I don't know how better to explain that. That's not particularly how I trade. It's a great way to trade, but it takes a little bit more time to shift through time frames, but it's also more accurate with tighter stop losses. So that's
Okay.
all.
Hey, Jimmy, I have
Hold on, let Ian finish real quick. Is there anything about that strategy I can help you understand a little bit better?
No. I think. I mean, definitely get the concept. From looking at the training videos and your explanation. So I do understand the concept. It's just something I would have to practice. I'm not even sure if that's something I'm going to adapt. Right now I'm really just kind of taking one trade at a time, and that's where I'm at right now. Just trying to take one trade at a time, and not really doing the now and later strategy. But I have tried it. But I did commit to 2 weeks, which actually this would be 2 weeks tonight. 2 weeks tomorrow, of just coming up with some rules for myself and trying to trade it, that way. And so far I've been relatively successful with that. So far so good. But now later strategy, it looks interesting and something I think I'd be interested in maybe giving a shot later on.
Okay, so you've been doing strategy for 2 weeks. Picking up that.
You sound far away again, Jenny.
I'm sorry. So you've been thinking about your strategy for 2 weeks, or you've been you've actively been doing your rules for 2 weeks?
I've been actively doing my rules for 2 weeks.
Okay, and what is your current accuracy ratio?
I do not keep track of my accuracy ratio.
Why not?
Because I suck.
But how are you gonna not suck anymore?
No, I actually just got a little journal tonight and said I've got to start keeping track of my trades, because I need to know where I'm at, and I need I need to be able to figure out how I'm getting better and if I'm getting better. So no, you're right. I just over these 2 weeks, the only way I've kept track of it is the fact that I've doubled my account, but I haven't kept track of it from a percentage ratio.
Okay, but you've doubled your account in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I doubled my account.
Well, that's fantastic. But how do we continue to double our account is by knowing our ratios and by knowing our.
I totally agree, and that's why I got my my little trading journal here that I decided that I'm going to start to, here you go. I got my little trading journal, so I can say, you know what, I need to start keeping track of things, because it doesn't work otherwise. I need to be very, very specific, and I kind of have this belief that you got to live by intention, and if I'm just kind of willy-nilly, anything less than keeping track is just kind of gambling, and I'm not interested in doing that. Not on my and my family, my family's future. So I need to get more exact. So that's why I picked up this little journal and said I'm going to start to keep track. But up until now, I have not.
Okay, but the rules you're following are based off of swing trades, right? One trade at a time on the 4-hour chart, or what?
Yeah, off the 4-hour chart, and so it's definitely been more like swing trading.
That's fantastic. Well, way to go. Like, and most people will tell me that, like, if they actually follow one set of rules for a full 2 weeks, they're like, huh. So I started making money. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So that's great.
Yeah, it is definitely awesome. I just need to be able to, repeat that a few thousand times.
True. This is true.
So that's why I got the journal.
Okay, awesome. Well, you keep track of it, and way to go on doubling your account. That's awesome. That's impressive.
Oh, thank you so much, Jenny. But that's largely due to your advice. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, see, I enjoy it. Thank you.
I know you made a comment about the burning bush earlier, and I don't necessarily take trades because someone else likes them. They right during these 2 weeks they've got to fit my rules. Because I'm trying to learn to trade, not just take trades. But for right now, you're still kind of my burning bush.
Okay, don't let me be that guy. That's but like seriously.
I'm just saying, sister.
I made the worst mistake. So most people come to me and they say, hey, I have like a 20% winning ratio, or I have like a 17% winning ratio. Then I automatically know unequivocally I am not wrong, that they have tried 19 different strategies that month. They have taken 19 different signals. They have done 19 different things, and they have not done one thing 19 times. Like, I can guarantee that I know that I know that I know. That is why they lost so much. Because here's the deal. Let's go to like a super naked chart. Well, this is just like got support and resistance on it, right? So even if I did only this chart with like RSI, one of the most basic vanilla indicators you can use, and just that and nothing else, I promise you I'm still going to have like a 60% accuracy ratio. So what does that tell us about trading? It tells us that, number one, sticking to something long enough is how you're going to make money. It tells us, number two, it should be actually number one, the majority of money made in Forex, God bless you, your ability to manage your trade. Like, most of it is just good risk to reward and good management. Because you don't have to be right all the time to make money. It's either have great accuracy or great risk management. You don't even need both, believe it or not. So, but good job on doubling your account. Okay, way to go.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
You are welcome.
Hey, Jen, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
The pair 200 AUD and AUS 200, are they the same pair or are they something totally different?
So those are different. Wait a minute. Say it again. Oh, on different brokers, you mean?
AU 200, AUS 200 is one of them, and the other pair 200 AUD. I was trying to determine, are they the same?
You're referencing on two different brokers, though, right? Those are on two different brokers?
No, they were on. Well, I haven't been able to find the 200 AUD, and I was listening to Patrick earlier today, and he was speaking of 200 AUD, which I just automatically assumed that it was AU 200.
Yeah. So like on different brokers, so he's referring to the same pair but on a different broker. As you guys know, gold is called different things. Some of the indices are called different things. Some of them are literally called Dow Jones, US 30. Oil is called different. So yes, that is the same thing. That's why I was asking. On different brokers, it's going to look a little bit different, but yeah, it's the same.
Okay, because when he was telling us earlier, he said the spread wasn't much at all, but I got the AFIX account and it's a huge spread.
Yeah, this spread is huge, you guys. But you have to keep in mind, there's no commission. There's no commission. There's no swap fees at all. So like, I don't want to do the math and like mislead you, and I don't want to be super wrong. But on CoinEx, which is a good broker for scalping, or Hugo's Way, like you're going to see a small spread. You're going to see a 10 pip spread, but then you're also going to see a 25 cent commission, a 25 cent swap fee, and then on Wednesdays you're going to see like a $50 swap fee. It's insane, especially on some pairs. And the swap fees and the commissions get charged every single day. So you get recharged. Well, swap fees are every day, commissions are once, and then they're triple on Wednesdays. The spread is something you pay one time. So having said that, like if you're swing trading and it comes out in the wash, your best bet is a higher spread broker with no fees. If you're scalping, then your best bet is like Hugo's Way.
Okay.
So yes, sir. But awesome. You are welcome. Next question.
Hey, Jenny, I have a question if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. Looking back at that CAD CHF pair that you was analyzing for the 4-hour strategy,
yes, sir.
You made reference to a fast entry that you would make there. And I was looking, I can see where the triple arrows comes in at around the 8 o'clock candle. And then, well, on my broker, it says 8 o'clock, but where you have those double arrows, and it's on, I'm sorry, I'm on the 4-hour chart. Yep. And
in here,
actually, it was back a little bit more where you rotated your cursor. I'm looking at July 25th.
Okay, gotcha. Like
Yeah, you went back a little bit. July 25th on the 8 o'clock candle, it looks like.
Okay.
And you see where you have those double arrows just to the left, the triple arrows where they come in at? Go over a little bit more. And you was right about there. And you was talking about your fast entry. At what point, I was thinking that the fast entry was when the 8 and 18 actually cross. Or is it when the MACD crosses?
So guys, this is an accumulation of rules. This is not one thing.
Okay.
I mean, we can get super naked and say, hey, we're going to take just the 8 and 18 cross, or just like that money tree string line. And again, if you even followed the most simplistic rules consistently, you're going to have like a 60-ish% accuracy, probably 70% accuracy if they're good ones. Ratio, period. So all we're doing is we're getting an accumulation of rules. So this is kind of a messy chart. Having said that, we have a crossover. Say this is a crossover. of the color.
Correct.
Green line's in the purple. This one's not as pretty. It's a little further apart. The same concept. Green line's on top, purple line's on bottom. We have not broken the zero yet, right?
Correct.
I'm going to zoom in right here now to give us a clearer picture. So same concept. Our buyers are in control. Momentum is breaking above the 2025. In this case, RSI, which is my purple line, I kind of have it dropped into my currency strength meter, but it's above the 50. Of course, CAD is stronger, CHF is weaker, and we have our buyers are in control. This is so if you're scalping a pullback, and terminology is important here because the more you get it right for yourself, the more your brain is going to get it right. So
Correct.
this would be one entry. So I can zoom in again to see. I don't know if we had our crossover just yet, but let's find out. So the crossover didn't technically happen until here, right, in between these two candles.
Right. I want to say the 1600 candle is when it actually looks like it confirmed, but that 1200 candle has a lot of great information in it, and it looks like to me I would have saw that 1200 candle, and perhaps the minute it broke that factor to the left of that probably would have signified a good entry for, I guess,
Where do you
buy.
live? Where do you live?
The factor just to the factor that's sitting there on the 8 o'clock candle.
Yep. Okay. Where do you live?
24. Where do I live?
Yeah,
In
where do you
Florida.
live?
Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So listen, do you usually sleep during London?
Yes, I do. But the 5 o'clock candle, I if I need to get up, I'll catch it.
So you missed this candle and this candle then. This right here is the 5 o'clock candle. Just so you know. Like, that doesn't seem relevant to a lot of people, but it's relevant to me because it should be relevant to you too. So again, pretending like this happened early New York, and it's something that we would have been awake for. When we looked at this candle, okay, again, we were wrong. It's not quite yet confirmed, but here's what we have. We have X amount of rules out of X amount of possibilities. We have to decide if it's enough to take it. And there's no super concrete, this is everything's golden. Technically, this is against the big arrow. Remember, we already know there's a big arrow saying sell right here, right?
That is correct.
So, and it's not bad because I showed you guys we can scalp these daily dots. So going off of this candle, because it just happens to be where we came in at, technically the crossover happened at the open of this candle. It would have been the open is where I would have gotten an alert, okay?
Okay.
But we're going to go off of this candle because it's the one you mentioned. We have, remember, the MACD can count as two confirmations. One would be the crossover, two would be the break of the zero, unless you want to exchange this for that Renko thingy. So either way, we have one confirmation. Our RSI is above the 50, that would be 2. Currency crossover and strength being the right way would be 3. Buyers are on top and sellers are on bottom, plus momentum is now above the 20, which is
25.
On this candle it's above the 20, which is my minimum. I'd rather see it above 25. But either way, above 20. So above 40 would be another confirmation for me. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have daily dots 5, 4-hour dots right here 6, little arrow 7, yellow arrow 8, right?
Correct.
We also have, I can't tell. I know there's a wick here, but now I'm going to go ahead and delete this line just so I can see the wick because I might be wrong.
There is
baby wick, yeah.
Okay.
Just a baby wick. So we have 7 confirmations. We closed above the 8, right? We now have a candle. We even have a doji. So like we have all this stuff saying that we're buying. So whether or not I would have taken it right here, I don't know. The odds are I can't say what I don't know, but the odds are I would have seen this resistance right here, and I wanted to break that first.
Okay, that's what I see too. I saw that that factoral sitting there, and it'd be nice to have a nice momentum break that. But I actually would enter as that candle is being formed. I wouldn't wait until the close.
I would enter on this candle. So for instance, on this candle, fractals you use immediately. You don't
Okay.
wait later. So the second this happened, keep in mind it pushed down hard, and then it came back up. That's how we get this wick right there. So I would have entered at the break of that, which means I would have caught that, and this is not a fast mover, that 30 pips easily. But even if
Correct.
I didn't, okay, even if I end up stuck in this trade for a little while, which is possible, let me zoom out, make it a little bigger. If I got it on the break of that, half of the average daily range last week, 2 weeks ago, was somewhere in and around 50 pips.
Okay, so that's good. Yeah.
Was 43 pips from where we're discussing going. So could I have gotten my 25 pips? Absolutely, right?
Okay. All right, great. Understood. I think the main thing for me was waiting on the 1818 cross. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I was waiting on the 18 to have a confirmed cross. But
it takes too
I
long.
guess, yeah, I saw that. It wicked down pretty hard, like more than a 50%. You know, and I was like, if I was to get in the counter before, that would have been much better. But the cross wasn't confirmed. However, I did have enough confirmations, you know, to take the trade. And also, I guess my stop loss was like a 30 pip stop loss too as well. And it probably would have been a good risk to reward ratio there if I did take that. So, you know, long story short, I think it is probably, if confirmations add up, that I get that break of the fractal and also the break of the 4-hour dots. It's a good chance that you can at least get a couple pips out of that.
Yeah, it's hard to, hindsight's always 20/20. We don't know what we don't know. But would I have entered here? Maybe. So I had to go, and I wanted to go to Zumba, and I wanted to go to, I don't know. So I just wanted to go get the house, okay? So somebody lands on my screen. If I saw this, may I have taken this if this was the right time? Maybe. If I had enough combinations. There's a possibility I would have said this is enough checklist on my checklist.
Right, and those are lining up pretty good too. Yeah.
Everything lines up. But is it exactly where I want it to be? No, not yet, and that's okay.
I got you. Okay, well, that's good enough. Well, thanks so much, Jenny. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Thank you. Let's see. Hey, Alex, I'm on AFX right now, and they definitely do have it, the Australian index, so you know. You have to right-click over here and pick Show All. They have a ton of stuff. What's the minimum risk-reward ratio you recommend with a flip-flop? The minimum, 1%. Did you mean the maximum? And second question, please. What's your daily routine in regards to looking for trades? Do you also wait for each 4-hour candle to close? Godwin, I just moved to Florida. The children just started school. So having said that, I'm a little 50-50 on my exact schedule at this time, so I don't want to fib to you. I always look for the 4-hour candles first and foremost. So in and around the times the 4-hour candle closes, I come to see what it did. So if it broke made a lower low, if everything is lining up, I know that I can take it in this direction. The 4-hour is a little bit more tricky in terms of that, but I always come and check the 4-hour chart. And before that, or during that, I always kind of set up alerts for my 1-hour kind of strategy that I use in the mornings. For New York, I use it for just a handful of pips, and it works really well. It's kind of like a flip-flop method. It's a little different than the flip-flop, but pip for pip, they equal about the same thing. And I'll go set up alerts on each chart on about 20 charts. Takes me about 15 to 17 minutes. I've timed it with my little Alexa devices. And then once I have those alerts going, I don't have to technically stare at my chart anymore. So, and then if I have time, I'll just come back and check my 4-hour candle times to see what's going on. I have had to turn off some of the alerts because some of them are just too many. Because I was getting alerts at the 8 and 18 crossover on the 4-hour. But then once you're getting like 30, then they don't even matter. So it's not good. I will take a look at that one. And that's it. So once I close 3 trades in profit on my kind of one strategy, then I will have my swings open and I'll maybe test a couple of things. I'll do some coaching and that's about it. So I hope that answers your question. So GJ is breaking out right now.
Yes, that's what I say. I actually saw this pair back Sunday, and I kind of sort of had it on my list. And I was thinking, you know, once it can get up past the fractal and break the 4 hours, and now it seems like the charts are starting to align back up into how we want it. I'm basically looking to run until we reach the 88 ADR for today. I think it's like 40 or 50 pips away, or maybe it's a little more.
It's way more than that, I think.
Yeah, I take that back. It's like 100 pips away. Yeah, but I think, you know, I don't know. Right now, I just got one of my things activated. My price alert activated me to say, hey, we've reached a level where it's pretty much ready to run, and it's in direction of my triple arrows. And I think I feel good about it. I waited all week for it, so you know, I don't know.
I like it too. So this is what I see. We officially have broken that support. We made this higher high. It looks like a baby, but that matters. That baby right there, it matters. Of course, we had to pull back and freak everybody out, and now we're looking for that blast off. Yeah, I like it. Like in general, I like it. We had to come back down and pull back. Momentum is still up high. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. And like I said, the news, there's no news or anything like that on there, but there is some U.S. news that comes out, I think, tomorrow that, you know, the U.S. can sneeze and everyone else can catch a cold. So it could be one of those things, but I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where I think I'll just have to manage it, just set my stop loss, and, you know, but I do feel all that my confirmations lined up, you know, from that point. And I have the RSI, which is above 50 and everything. Everything is pretty much lining up right now. So there's a couple more hours that need to come into play. I think the 1 o'clock hour will probably be, you know, probably tell a lot as far as the direction of it. And then to open up the European session will definitely, hopefully it can carry it all the way through before US session even comes around. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, it's probably gonna make a big push for London.
Yeah.
That's what I see. We'll see though, huh?
Yep.
That's actually up here. So,
Yeah.
Okay. No, I like that trade. That's a perfect trade. You guys see, so this is what I'm saying, like in terms of taking the 818 cross back here, you got stuck in all of this, which is, and it's annoying, but, and then there's no way to know that you didn't know that this was coming. So either way, if you took that trade, if this was worth it on a no swap fee broker, okay, you're still up 100 pips, but yet this took you a whole week of stressing about it and figuring out what you were going to do. But this is how I trade mostly. My swing trades are super, super easy like this.
Okay.
They're not hard.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome. So DJ explained the formula of the fractals wrong. Since this is recorded, I would like to make it clear that fractals are determined by the candle's highs. Okay, I thought that, DJ, but I didn't want to call you out. Like, I thought they were determined by the high and the low and not the candles before and after it. I mean, I've heard theories about it being before and after, but either way. But we can talk about that on another call. I promise you I get it wrong on live calls too. It's not just you. So I promise. Again, all this was recorded. We can't even take it back. You're just stuck like Chuck, just like me. So you better remember what you ate for breakfast last week, because we're both gonna, you know, have to deal with that and answer for those things. I'm just joking with you, DJ. USD CAD for a buy. I'm not touching USD CAD, Brent. USD CAD has been nothing but just drama. Hold on. I'll take a look at it. USD has been pushing and pushing and pushing. Let's take a look. So somebody I highly respect was trying to sell it again today. Do you say for a buy or for a sell? You said a buy? Let me go back. USD CAD for a buy. Triple arrows on the daily and on the 15, but I see the arrows on the 30 and the hour. Can you talk, Brent, or no? Yeah, well, we've been trying, they've been trying to sell this and 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 trying to sell this. Everyone and their mama is trying to sell this. Like for me, it's just not there yet. Like I want a little bit more confirmation than what it's got. Yeah, we scalped it for 10 pips or so. I got the 10 pips. It was great, fantastic, woohoo. But in terms of like a long-term hold, this is just not ready. Just not. Notice how this just disappeared and came down here. This was up here a minute ago. So what this is going to do, especially with this news, I don't know. And I don't want to play with it because it's got way too much in there, too much drama. You're in the living room, too loud, huh? Okay, Brent. I understand. But I hope that answers your question. Hey guys, I wanted to actually go over the strategies tonight real quick. So I wanted that to be recorded in a nice short way. But we kind of got off topic to the challenge again at the beginning. So does anybody else have any major questions or comments that you'd like me to know tonight? Or that I can help with you in any way? Anybody at all? Going once? Going twice? Okay, well, let me check the chat. There it is. The week ADR indicator, can you post it? MJ, yes. I asked Pat to put that on the website, actually. So he should have that up there, so now we can quit sending it out every time. But all it is called the bar alert, and it should be on the website now, just so you know. Gotcha. Oh, yeah, you probably have it. Again, it works really well. The currency one is no longer free. And I still love it. So there are some free ones that are pretty comparable. Absolute currency strength is my favorite. It's a little messier and harder to read, but it is very good. I know there's some in the group that works really well, so you can ask them. You see a big reverse on the 15-minute. Does that matter for CAD JPY? Let's take a look. Godwin. Goodwin. Godwin. Let's see. We're on the 4-hour. Here's our triple arrows. Well, actually, we never got that other arrow for some reason. Never got it. That's kind of strange. So, big buy, CAD is stronger, as we know. JPY is weaker. If I had to pick one of the JPY pairs, it wouldn't be this one. Just so you know, but now let's go to the 15-minute chart. We have 2 hours and 30 minutes on that candle. So I'm gonna maximize this, double click and scroll over. Let's see. Do you mean for the buy or for the sell? Good one. For the buy. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely buying. I wouldn't go off of this area. DJ's like, hey, I call that later.
I can talk, X. I don't know why I'm typing, but yeah, I called it on the call. I said, well, actually, I put in the text, wait for it to break the fractal and go for the buy. You would have got about 15 pips, something like that. Well, 13, but your stop loss would have been at least break even.
Guys, DJ and I had a meeting. We talked a little bit about this, and like he's gotten super well. Like his accuracy. Do you know what your accuracy is right now, DJ?
Well, last week out of 21 trades, 19 closed in profit.
Awesome. So like it's super. And how are you setting a take profit again?
Sorry for the noise. My little one is running around wild. But so basically, for my take profit, I'm going for 20 to 25 pips, just depending on how fast the pair is moving. And then I just try to make sure that my stop loss is more than 25 pips out.
How many pips out?
I make sure my stop loss basically I make sure my stop loss is not as much as my take profit. So it's never going to be more than 20 or 25 pips depending on what I'm going for and depending on the pair. But most of the time I'm going for 25 pips. So basically most of the time my stop loss is not going to be more than 25. And I base that on the opposing fractal. So on this trade in particular, my stop loss would be right there at the last bottom fractal. Yeah.
And you went down to the 15-minute chart, not the 30 like you were using, right? After we talked?
Yeah, I don't even look at the 30 anymore. It's just everything I need to see is on the 15. As long as I got all my confirmations, I mean, it's going the way it needs to go.
Are you still confirming it with the 1 hour or no?
I'm finding more success when I confirm the 4 hour trend, actually. Like if I'm going in the direction of the 4 hour trend and I take these, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's easier that way instead of looking for those pullbacks because you got a lot more room for it to run that runner position.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. That is awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Well, thank you for helping me tweak it.
You are welcome. You're a rock star. So way to go. Okay, let's see. Brian gotta go. Yeah, hey guys, I gotta go too. I'm a sleepyhead. So I'm working on sleeping in a better schedule and waking up super early. So I could still hang out with y'all all night, but some of y'all are gonna have to make some real money so you can quit your New York jobs and your day jobs and just stay with me in New York a little bit, and it'll be fun.
Amen to that. Quit that job.
Yeah, right. How many of you can be on the early New York session with me? Thank you. How many of you can like active be on me?
Not me.
Okay. Nobody at all, huh? Anybody? Well, most of you guys, I'm gonna watch the chat for a minute. Most of you guys like can be on the night one. So if you don't mind looking at some swings, then we can do swings. So I'm good at swings. They're really stress-free, but they're stress-free to me because I trust them. If you're gonna be tripping for a week, then you probably should not do a swing. Because some of them are gonna have you like super holding this for a week going, oh my gosh, I thought that was going to pay off my house. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because you're going to be stuck in something like this. And you're like, oh, well, that was nice. And it's just going to happen for you just out of nowhere, beautifully and amazingly. So, make sure I can.
Can't wait, Jenny. Just one real quick question. That indicator that you have down there that has all of the, like the CAD, the GBP, yeah, like that one right there. Yeah, that has the prices. Right, like over to the right.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? A currency? No. Yeah, just those on the corner right there that says CAD, GBP, USD. Was that you? Yeah, that right there. Yeah. What is that called, and where can I find it?
This is called the customer. This is a currency relative strength.
So it's a part of the currency relative strength.
I think somebody in the group found a comparable version. I would love to share this, and the only reason I did share it was because it was free, and then they started charging for it. I was like, that's not cool. And I don't recommend you guys. I don't recommend you guys buy things from that because honestly, there's like no customer service. So if it doesn't work, you have a problem. There's no one you can deal with on that at all.
Got you.
But there are some free ones that they're less cool and more cool in different ways. But it's not bad. Like, it's just different, that's all.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jenny. You have a great evening.
You are welcome. Hey, Ian, I'm going to drop I don't know if it's going to work. I try to do it with somebody else. So, but I will see if I can drop it to you.
All right. If you can. If you can, awesome. If not, I understand.
If you can open it. Some people can open it. Some people can't. So.
Okay, and I inboxed you, by the way.
All right, awesome. Well, I've got like about 50 inboxes from you tonight. So if I respond,
I'm not hearing you. What?
Yeah, just from when I was on this call. So. Yes, sir. I will get back to you in the morning if you don't mind. So.
That is perfectly all right.
Usually when I jump off of this call, I go cuddle with my little guy. I double check everything, and it's kind of like the routine I have. So.
You're an awesome mom. Do your thing, girl.
So awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate your kind words, and I will talk to you guys here all soon. If you have any questions or comments, you guys can message me. We're going to start the challenge in a few weeks. I know that much. So I hope you guys have a fantastic night. God bless and sweet dreams and all that jazz.
God bless you and have a great evening.
All right. Good night.
Have a good night, Jenny.
Good night, guys.
All right.